Welcome everyone, it's Zotac here again. This time I've got a set of replays from the July Zotac Cup 2013 edition. And this is the best of 5 finals. And this time on Whirlwind, spawning in the bottom left as the green Zerg, we got Team Acer's Bly. And Bly is going to try to claim victory over his Protoss opponent, spawning in the top right as the red Protoss. You've got Ence Sports Elfi. And to be honest, I'm not that familiar with Elfi or Bly's play, so it will be very interesting to see what they will be going for. It looks like Bly is going for the early extractor trick just to get that extra drone out before that Overlord is going to be popping out. I've heard from other pro players such as Idra that Elfi is a very kind of random player in some ways. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen a lot of his games, so it's hard for me to say. But I do like spontaneous players, so let's see if Elfi can live up to Idra's billing. It looks like Bly is going to be going for 15cc. Sorry, not CC, hatchery. Would be nice if Zerg drones could morph into command centers, then you could get some mules and some orbital commands, but that is not the case currently. Maybe there's some sort of mod for Starcraft 2 where you can do that, but not in professional play, not as of yet. Very interesting. Elfi actually went for the assimilator before gateway, and generally this is an indication of some sort of early game aggression. Maybe an early Twilight Council to Dark Shrine, or maybe a blink all in. It could mean many different things, so I really want to know what Elfi's going to be doing next. And if you want to use these kinds of strategies, Whirlwind is a large map, so if you don't want to get found out so early, a large map is a great place to do that, simply because your opponent doesn't know where you have spawned. And because this is cross-spawn's position as well, it's going to take Bly a while to get to Elfi's base. But also, vice versa, this is also true. If you want to attack your opponent, defenders do have the advantage because it's going to take that little bit of extra time to get across the map. Because if they were parallel or perpendicular spawn locations, it's a lot faster to get to your opponent's base. As the first Zealot is going to be rushing out of here and down the ramp, I think Elfi wants to scout out both locations, one with the probe and one with the Zealot. That's not a bad idea to figure out where Bly is for certain. And because this is Whirlwind, and because they do have cross-spawn positions, this Zelnaga Tower can actually be very useful as players, when they want to attack each other, because they're in cross-spawn locations, they're going to be crossing past the Zelnaga Tower. So if you have units at the Zelnaga Tower, you'll be able to scout incoming attacks and counterattacks. So that is important to note. One lone Zergling is going to walk across the map, it looks like. And Elfi is getting 3 more gateways up, actually 4 more gateways up. Zergling speed has been started. The Zealot is going to be hanging around here at the rapids, charging forward. And Elfi has a proxy pylon already started to warp in at the ramp of Bly's natural. The Zergling is going to be able to spot all these gateways, and mo gateways means mo units. So Elfi is going to be doing a timing attack here. He only has 1 Nexus. If this doesn't do a lot of damage, Elfi will be far behind. If you take a look at the supplies, Bly is far ahead, but most of that is in Harvester count, so it's not entirely accurate. The Queen is going to have to withdraw slightly, but the Stalker has taken significant damage, and there's a large warp in of Zealots. We've got 2 Spine Crawlers in the back as well. And if Bly can defend this attack, Elfi will be in a lot of pain. He doesn't have any units back at home. In fact, he's got 4 probes that aren't doing anything. I think they picked off that Zergling possibly, but now they're not doing anything, so that's a mistake by Elfi. Still not mining after a few seconds, and now the Zealots are going to charge into the main, and they're going to try and chew up some drones. The drones are going to be skittering away here. And this would be a perfect time to get some splash damage, but Protoss gateway units do not have that luxury. So Elfi is going to focus down on these Zerglings instead, and that's a lot of Zerglings. Bly is off the creep. That queen is prone. So now it's like almost 1 base to 1, but you got to remember, Bly does have the Baneling's Nest, and he's going to be morphing Banelings behind this, and Banelings can wreak havoc, especially against a Zealot line. So Elfi needs to take a note of that. If Elfi's not going to do anything about that, I think Elfi's going to be in a lot of trouble here. The splits for the Zealots, but the Banelings do significant damage, and now all the Zealots are in the red. The Zealots are going to get cleaned up by all these Zerglings, and this Lone Stalker with 9 kills, this Hero Stalker is not going to be able to finish off these 10 or so Zerglings. And now Elfi's attack has been totally neutered. And at the same time, he does have a supply disadvantage of about 10. Elfi is going to reinforce his baseline with a sentry. The sentry can put down a force field to delay this quite a bit, but I don't think that attack was very successful. Able to do a lot of damage, but the drones did run away, and unfortunately that means that only 1 drone worker was killed. And now the Zerglings are just stampeding in here, gonna get this around on the Zealots. They're going to retreat temporarily, and Elfi is going to focus down those bricks, but I think Bly is in a very good position. He does have the supply advantage. He also has a hatchery building at his main again. So, unfortunately for Elfi, he went for the attack, and it didn't really work out. I would have really liked Elfi going for the +1 attacks. +1 attacks would have made a huge difference in those engagements with the Zerglings, 2-shotting them instead of 3-shotting them. But hindsight is 20/20, and now Elfi's going to have to deal with all these Zerglings. And Elfi is going to move out here now. He's got a lot of Zerglings, but he might be out of position here. If the Zerglings do get around, these sentries might be toast. So Elfi is going to retreat back to the security of his ramp encampment, and still getting more and more sentries and Zealots. And I think this is a wise choice, as the force fields will keep the Zerglings at bay, at least temporarily. But every second this game does go on, I feel that Bly is building more and more of an advantage. So Elfi has to figure out what he can do to counteract this. And in fact, both players, or at least just Elfi, is supply blocked. He's going to be getting that pylon now, and going to be putting down that Nexus, and he really needs that Nexus as he is behind. And he's going to be moving across the map with those Zealots, and the Zergling is going to spot with that Xel'Naga Tower, and that's what I'm talking about. That Xel'Naga Tower gave that early scouting advantage to Bly. Is he going to use that extra few precious moments to do something about it? Yes, it looks like he's morphing in 9 Banelings. And with so many Banelings, I don't think these Zealots are going to hold up to par against them. There is a drone hiding here, and it looks like Bly does want to expand to his 3rd base. And at the same time, he has 1 lone Zergling poking away at the expansionary Nexus for Elfi. And the supply difference is at about 15 in advantage of Bly. Elfi is running around back and forth, it looks like, and now we've got a huge counterattack with Zergling speed past the center of the map. The sentries are going to climb up the ramp. I think he's going to put down some force fields, otherwise he's going to be in a lot of trouble. In fact, that Forge might go down. +1 weapons is researching, but the Zerglings get the full surround. This Forge is not going to make it, looks like. Oh no, with a great force field, the Zerglings are going to have to withdraw. So backing up is Bly, but we've got a lot of Zerglings in the middle of the map for Bly. His creep spread is pretty good considering what happened in the early point of the game, but now he's got Roaches and Banelings in the composition as well. We've got 1 Phoenix on the way, but at this point in time, I'm not sure how much help the Phoenix can provide, considering there's so many Roaches and Banelings now skittering across the map. Elfi is going to fortify his natural. There are no cannons and no stalkers as well, so this army is lacking a lot of range. The sentries don't do that much damage. They also don't have significant range either, and these Roaches are very, very tough. Overlord is going to pop, and that's going to supply block Bly again. But let's see what Bly can do here. We got 3 force fields going up. Now, unfortunately for Elfi, I think what would have been great, other than just force fielding this off and stopping this attack for another 20 seconds or so, is to bait some of the units in, then put the force fields down, and then clean up some of those units for free. Instead, it's just going to stop Bly from doing anything. 1 Baneling is picked up by that Mothership Core, so great control by Elfi. Anytime you can get a unit for free, that is a victory, especially when you are behind in a situation like this. We've got more and more Phoenixes on the way. And this hallucinated Phoenix is going to get a really good scout out, able to see the third base from Bly as well. And the longer this game has gone on, it seems like this game has become more and more normal in a lot of ways. The only thing abnormal that I can really see is that there are no stalkers in this composition. And Twilight Council is going down. And Elfi is betting on the double Stargate that the Phoenixes are going to be able to help him. But I'm really doubting this play, as Phoenixes are very good for harassing mineral lines and picking up stray units. But it is very micro-intensive. And you have to really use these units and get the most bang for your buck. Otherwise, it's just going to be wasted. And like I mentioned before, Bly is up about 20 supplies. So these Phoenixes are going to have to do significant damage before they're going to pay for themselves. And Elfi is going to come in here, harass some of these drones. Able to pick off one. But there is a Spore Crawler and a Hydralisk. Hydralisk will go down. There's also a Queen, but it's targeted. And that Queen is not going to survive. Oh, yes, it might. All the Hydralisks do rush in here, but they're all picked up one by one. So the Phoenixes are able to do significant damage, able to kill some Hydralisks on top of it, and some Overlords as well. So not a total loss for Elfi investing in these Phoenixes. But now they don't have that much energy for the Graviton Beam, and they're going to have to withdraw. We've got a lone Mothership Core here harassing the third base. I don't think this is very wise by Elfi. I think he's going to lose the Mothership Core, and it's popped for free. That's a big, big mistake by Elfi. Losing the Mothership Core for nothing. And now it might be a very good time for Bly to attack, because he knows that the Mothership Core is not going to be back for a while. It takes, how long does it take to build a Mothership Core? Takes half a minute to build a Mothership Core, so for 30 seconds here, there's no energy for the Mothership Core, and there's no Mothership Core to recall units or to put down Nexus cannons. And even though Elfi is ahead in resources lost department, Bly does have 4 bases up. Elfi only has 2, and he's also got burrowed units at the possible potential third base for Elfi. Elfi is going to hallucinate 4 Colossi in here. The force fields do go down, but it doesn't trick Bly at all. The Banelings are rushing in here, and these Zealots are not going to be able to do too much. Zealots are your wall. They need some firepower behind it, and now with a huge supply advantage is Bly. He's up about 70. Zealots are going to warp in here, but with the Hydralisk in the back dealing significant DPS, the Phoenixes are going to stream in here, but it's just not going to be enough. Elfi is going to tap out, and Bly is going to take game 1 of this best of 5 series. Great play by Bly. Able to defend that timing attack and just ran the momentum all the way to the end. So we'll have to see if he can continue this streak or if Elfi is going to bounce back. So I'll see you guys over at game 2.